Hello, welcome to the 1010 Book Club. Some people might say that I am too old. As a reason, I am too old to start a business, I am too old to travel, I am too old to do this and to do that. You know what? Today, we are glad that we have Uncle Yi together with us to share about his inspiration and motivation, how he do that. So he is an 85 years old and was in the Malaysia Book of Record and to do crazy stuff. The crazy stuff that he's doing is that he is an Ironman, and he not just compete in an Ironman, he finishes an Ironman and he do it fantastically. And today you are going to hear from him how he do all that in his personal story. Alright, enjoy the sharing, and I believe that you will be inspired by Uncle Yi. See you in the sharing.
Thank you for the invite. I'm honored and flattered for the opportunity to share what I have gone through during the past 30 years or so. From my adventure in multi-sport race, racing the Ironman or the triathlon in general, and the Ironman triathlon in particular. There are a few good ones, many bad ones. Now, the journey is practically little with my sweat, my tears, my pain and my blood. And of course, many bleeding noses. Now, despite the beating and the setback and the bloody noses, I still go back for more. Many people ask me why at my age I'm still doing it. Today at 85, I'm standing in front of you to tell you honestly, I have no answer. I'm still trying to find why. My journey is full of never stop, what they call full of self-discovery. Every time I fall, I pick myself up and I find why. What are my weaknesses? I work on them and become wiser and a better man. So today I'm here to share with you those experiences. Why am I still coming back? I don't know. Perhaps maybe the ox in me has got something to do with it. I was born in the years of the ox, according to the lunar calendar, like Billy here, stubborn. And well, have you ever seen an ox walk backward? It can't. The ox can only walk forwards. So don't you stand in front of it when you see steam coming out from its nose. Likewise, you don't stand behind a horse. The back kick is little. So maybe the story I'll be telling you later, you will find some hint as to why I am still at it. Now, what is Ironman? It is ordinary people performing extraordinary feats thought impossible. In the Malaysian context, it is the average Akau, Ali, and Mutu doing the same stuff. But these people have one ingredient in common. What they call they share the same ingredient. They want to do it. They believe they can do it, and they go out and do it with single-mindedness, determination, never give up. Well, a little bit about history. I think in 1978, at the award ceremony of the Honolulu Marathon, there was an argument between some of the participants as to which is the most challenging sport. The whitewater, the whitewater rough water swim, which is a 2.5 mile swim in ocean, that is 3.8 kilometer, or the round Oahu bike ride for distance of 180 kilometer, or the Honolulu Marathon. And of course, after beer, nobody can agree. So, U.S. Navy Commander John Collins, he spoke up. He said, I propose, I combine the three together. You start with a swim of 3.8 kilometer, followed by the 180 kilometer bike ride, then conclude with running the Honolulu Marathon, which is 42K. Whoever who finish first, I will call him an Ironman. So the next year, 15 participants show up at the starting line. 14 of them finish. That's how the Ironman was born and grew, and it continued each year until one year, Julie Moss, she was in Hawaii doing some research for a paper she was writing, some thesis. She heard about it, she trained, and she joined the race. Julie managed to swim quite well, so is the bike. During the run, she suffered big. She was quite badly dehydrated. During the last 500 meter home straight to the finish, she could not stand up. She could not even walk straight. She tried, she fall, tremble, she get up again, she tried until the final 100 meter, she crawled to the finish. NBC was there recording the show live, and that crawl from Julie Moore become the so-called the crawl that make America to tears. The next year, the participant hit the roof. That's how the Ironman is going until, I think up to now, there must be close to 100 races around the year. And by the way, a few years ago, the brand was sold to a Chinese company for something like 140 million US dollars. Well, a little bit of history before I go back to how I got started. Maybe I should continue with this on the Ironman side. I took my first attempt in the Hawaii Ironman at 1995 at the age of 58. In those days, developing countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and so forth, we can join in by application. Each country, they allow 2 or 3. So, in 1995, I was there with another fellow, Malaysian Chanchi Singh, and one more hot shot. I don't mention a name or race. I think the racial issue is a bit sensitive. So the 3 of us represent the country during the parade. On the way, I bought my first ever a video recorder at a duty-free shop. I think with it's a Sony cam, something like that. So during the parade, my wife was tasked with the job of videoing the Malaysian team, but because she never used the apparatus before, so did I. So that evening after dinner, we were eagerly waiting to see how the Malaysian team looked like. What we saw was 3 pairs of legs. Instead of taking 2 pairs, dark brown, that would be me and Chanti Singh, and another pair of black, hairy black, this will be another Malaysian. I don't mention race. I think he's an Indian Muslim. I will call him the hot shot later on. So much for history for the first race representing Malaysia. And that evening after dinner, that hot shot asked me, Mr. Yi, are you sure you can do it? That is exactly what he asked me. And I will never forget that. Because this hot shot, Mama, okay, he raced twice the year before, 1993 and 94. 94 he did quite well, came in about 13 hours plus, and his company sponsored him. And he came out in the press to let everybody know he wanted to dip below 13 hours. Actually, that is to dip. Okay. I mean, that is stupid. I will go into that later on. So that night, 8 hours before race day, when he threw me the challenge, it's more like insulting to him. I am nobody. You know, he had done it 2 times, and he is the pioneer. So, Mr. Yi, are you sure you can finish? That's the last thing I want. So the whole night, I was twisting and turning in bed, couldn't sleep. Of course, even without this pre-race night, we all have butterfly in the stomach. But finally, what to do? I had no answer. Then I said, look, I will show you. I get so mad. That's my only way to find out. You think I can't do it? I will show you. In the Malaysian context, die, or in the Malaysian English, die also I must do. So that tagline of I will show you become my tool of the trade. Very, very effective. You'll find in my book that was mentioned many times. Every time I was in deep shit, then this particular tagline will come out. And you have never ever failed to pick me up from all the hellhole I fell into. So the lesson here is, if you are looked down upon, you are intimidated, you have got two choices. Yeah lah, I'm only a small buggers, and you have done all this, you're elite, sure what. But no, the other way is, you think I can't do it? I will do it. I will show you. That is very good for character building, in whatever you do, in personal relationship or in business and all. So during the race, of course, I had a few up, many down, but I managed to pull through. All right, so I came in at 16 hours, 37 minutes, barely beating the cutoff by some 23 minutes. And then hot shot, he is supposed to dip below 13 hours. He came in 15 hours plus. So here the lesson is, race day, your plate is full. A journey of 236 kilometers, you have 17 hours to finish. You jump into the sea at 7. If you cross the finish line by 12 before midnight, you are an Ironman. So why is he putting pressure on himself? So anything you do, you may have a target. Keep it to yourself. Nobody knows. Like the Russian, all right? The American, before they do anything, they announce what? The blah, blah, everybody knows. Sending men to the moon and all this. What happens if they fail? It is for everybody to see. But whereas the Russian, they don't talk. They do it first. When they finish, when they succeed, then only they announce. Sorry. There's also something about the Chinese I want. He said the Chinese said it, but never do it. But that was long ago. It's more insult. But this is the joke we used to say. So I always say, you think like a Russian bear. Keep quiet and do it. That's why and then this is a bit of history. And then in 1998, the Ironman 20 years anniversary, big deal. I was there. I have the honor of racing the founder, U.S. Navy Commander John Collins. We were in the same age group of 60 to 64. The bike ride transition is at the parking lot of a resort hotel at the end of Alihi Drive in Koreatown, that is at the bottom of the valley. So runner will have to, when they get out of the transition, it's a long steep hill ahead of us. That was very, very tough, because after hours of cycling, your running muscle is still asleep. How do you run up a long, steep hill? I was no exception. Like others, I was walking up the hill. As I walk up, that was evening time already. As I walk up near the crest of the hill, I saw a tall, lone figure, miserably, dragging himself up the hill and talking to himself. I'm getting too old for this. So as I get nearer, I said, yeah lah, we old buggers. We should be drinking beer by the beach. We got no business here. He turned back. Huh? Where did you come from, little fella? Of course, I compared to him is 6 foot plus. And I said, oh, this is John Collins. Then where you come from? I said, Malaysia. Where is Malaysia? Singapore. I said, no. Bigger brother of Singapore. Then as I pass him, I said, we have you to thank, Big John. You started this damn thing. And now we are all here going to hell. That could be another piece of history. And of course, our age group, 60 to 64, was still very competitive. John and me, we got home almost at the tail end of the group, 30 plus of us. I came in 15 hours, 24 minutes. Big John came back in 16 hours, 30 minutes. So I never mentioned, but since, this talk, I start looking back. To me, there's another history. And then in 2009, I qualified for Hawaii again. And that time I was already in my 72. So I told my family, I said, this may be the last time I race in the World Championship because the qualification has become very, very tough. I have to be first in my group before I earn the entry. And the entry is no cheap. So my son and his future wife and my wife and me, we traveled from Malaysia. My daughter Joy flew all the way from Newcastle, England, via Los Angeles. So during the Ironman parade, Malaysian team is the E gang. My son carried the big flag. I carried the nameplate and we march. So this is another piece of history. I never think of it, and it costs us a small fortune. So the E gang is actually representing the country. Now, how did all this started? From a couch potato to become an Ironman. I was like anybody else in my mid-40s, chasing the corporate with a ladder at the expense of my health. So one evening, on the way back from the office, I went to a roast duck store in Sea Park, PJ, to buy roast duck for the dinner for 4 of us. When I was there, the vendor was still busy hanging up the duck, so I just passed time hanging around looking around the shop. My attention was attracted to a uniquely decorated clinic, a new clinic with so much of green in there. The wall is painted lightly green with flower, poppy. I think national flower is poppy, I'm not sure. And then the furniture, Rotan furniture, were also lightly varnished with light green, with matching light green and red flower. The place looked more like a hotel lounge than a clinic. When you walk in, there's no smell of infection. What they call infectant or detrol. The doctor came out and said hi to me, but apparently there was no business, so we exchanged a card, and then I was invited into his consultation room to check out his equipment, ECG machine, etc. By the time I got out, I had my blood taken for the first ever medical checkup I have at 48. So apparently, the doctor is a better salesman than I am. So a few days later, when I checked my result, the first thing he told me is, Mr. Yi, you want to live to 60, you better get up from your couch, get moving, get active. That was a wake-up call. I was 48, 60, they mean 12 years to go. I have 2 kids and a wife to support. So a few months later, I was in Kuala Lumpur Hilton to see a representative from one of our overseas principal. While waiting for him, I had my palm read by quite a renowned palmist, I think by the name of Yash Paul. And he told me my lifeline end at 67. Now the wake-up call become an alarm. See, the doctor said, I may not live to 60. And the palmist said, look, your life end at 67. That is in your destiny. So I sprung into action. That was my first and the biggest life-changing move from a couch potato to an Ironman. Don't mind, I sit down, my leg is killing me. Because this again is what I'm paying for all the things I do. You know, there will be lesson for this too. You know, never always listen to doctor. You know, you get injured instead of taking rest. You know, okay, good. So I have this. That will be story later. You know, reoccurring injury once or twice a year when your immune is down. The thing come and hunt you. It's like paying interest. Okay. So my office was in Subang Jaya, within walking distance to the Subang Marine Hotel. I joined the club. There's a elite club there that allowed me to use the hotel pool, which is a 25-meter pool, plus the hotel gyms. So I work out there. And of course, being a club member, you got special discount for the MPR liquid, you know. After the workout, straight away go to the lounge for the beer. 6 months down the line, my beer belly is still very visible. A gymmate advised me, you better jog. Jogging is better. So I include jogging into my 3 to 4 times weekly regime. There is a beautiful disused mining pool behind the Merlin Hotel. I think it's called Subangria Lake, a very scenic lake. So I started jogging there. I managed to build up. I use jogging as a warm-up before I go to the gym or swimming. So my regime of 3 times a week is becoming 4 or 5 times. And 2 years later, I was 50, and I have improved the distance of my jog to about 14 kilometers around the lake. And the silly me, I signed up for the first Star PJ half marathon. You know, my max is only 14K, and half marathon is 21K. But well, the Ironman is about putting one foot beyond, you know. So I try. Race day come, I drag myself to about 13 plus 14 kilometer mark. Then I could not continue anymore. I stopped by the roadside, on the curve, took out my shoe, my sock to check out the injury. Yeah, I had 2 or 3 blisters in my sole plus 2 black toes. Well, I was quite contented. Well, today almost 17K, not bad lah. You know, so I was figuring out how to get back to where I parked my car. And as a lookout, there was this plus size lady jog past me with a huge behind, swinging from left to right. Jesus, she is good. She is so big, plus size, and yet she overtook me. So I was admiring the swinging, but what a sight to behold, I told myself. Then after the bend, the sight disappeared. Then I get angry. I said, how come? How can I let this fat beat me? So from admiration, you turn to anger. This is nothing wrong. It anger blind my pain, and it spur me to almost do the impossible, get up and follow her. Of course, when I put back my socks and shoe, I could hardly walk. But again, the anger in me, the He-Man ego, I cannot lose to her, make me drag myself to the finish. I managed to register a time of less than 2 hours, 15 minutes, which earned me a medal and a certificate of completion. But the lady was nowhere in sight. Now, here is a very important lesson for all of us, whether sportsmen or anything else. Had I not get up and try to follow this plus size lady, that 17 kilometer I finished will become an invincible block in my mind. The next race I join, I will always have this doubt. I did not finish lah. Maximum is only 17K. Can I go the distance? But because of that, the next race to me is okay. No, I've done it. I've gone the distance. This is very important to break the invincible wall in anything you do. Even a full Ironman, the cut-up time is 17 hours. And when 17 hours come, you are halfway on the marathon. The shop closed, the show closed, the party over. Everybody go floodlight, switch off. Music switch off. Everybody gone home. You got 2 choices. Yeah, already missed the cut-off time. Myself give up. So, if you do so, it's a big, big mistake. I have a friend who happened to be the founder of Triathlon MPD. Not to mention it at the moment, but anyway, he tried to prove himself again, to put himself to the mill. And when the party was over, he was still more than 10 kilometers from the finish. But he never gave up. The whole town was so dark, it was a small town. He dragged himself to the finish. By the time he get there, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. here, the spirit is never give up. At least he tell himself, I go the distance. See, in anything you do, not necessarily sport, in business and all this, you can never win all the time. See, so when you win, you're happy. When you lose, well, it's part of the journey. What's important is you find out why you lose. You find your weaknesses, you work on them, you become wiser and a better man. So this could be also part of the answer why I'm still at it. By the way, let's detour a little bit. Have you seen a baby started his first step? He stand up, start to walk, take the first step. He tremble, he fall. A baby of how many months when he start walk? Maybe 8, 9 months, I'm not sure. Huh? He gets up and he try again. He tremble and he fall. The baby never cry. He get up again, try until he can put one foot in front of other. One step, it become 2 step. 2 step become 3 step. 3 become 4. And you can see the joys in his face. I am, in a way, something like that. Despite all the beating, I never give up. I become better. But the thing is, you must find out your weaknesses. So, now, to quote a famous teaching of a U.S. general, I forgot his name. He said, you do what you can for as long as you can. I repeat, you do what you can for as long as you can. And when you can't, you do your next best. You back up, but you never give up. And unknowingly, I'm following the same thing. I'm actually practicing the same thing. In my 70, which was the golden era in my Ironman career, and now I'm 80 plus, I can no longer do what I did in my 70, although the mind is still there, but the body just cannot follow. So I change. If I go and do the Ironman, going the distance is no problem, but I cannot meet the cut-off time. So I have to admit, time is no longer, age is no longer a number. It is a number. Father time, you cannot fight. So unconsciously, I'm doing the same thing. I'm tapping down. Okay, I can't do the Ironman. I will do shorter distance to save it. Because if I have to get active 3 to 4 times a week, run maybe 2 times, swim 1 time, bike 1 or 2 times. Now, I have to spend, even now, 8, 9 hours a week doing that. Why can't I make this 8, 9 hours productive? After the time spent is the same. So it is important. Anything you do, every workout you do, it is purposeful and goal driven. Because you've got to spend 1.5 hours running. You can go jog, and then you see your neighbor, hi, and then you stop and talk 5, 10 minutes of gossip, Before you know it, 1.5 hours is gone. But no, I will say hi, I won't stop. Because I have a goal. My goal is to run 1.5 kilometers at such a space. So many people, for years, my family was living in a condominium in Gasing High, which is 500 meter above ground level. The pool is a 24-meter pool, very cold. So when I went into the pool, I never talk to anybody. I go in, lap after lap after lap, 100 lap, 200 lap. I never talk. I never stay in the pool and talk to people. So some of the neighbors were thinking that this bloody old man very songbong lah, never talk. No. There are two reasons. Because if I stop to talk, I feel cold. See? So I must continue. And besides, I don't have the time to talk. I go in, I want to swim 200 rep, that's it, I go and just go. You know. So it comes back to the same thing again. It's purposeful, goal driven. Now, where am I? Okay, so that was the first half marathon, and then in the same year, I did 2 more quantum marathon, half marathon in Saramban, and then I took on the Ipoh half marathon. Very easy target. Ipoh, the course is very flat. So I set a target of going sub 2 hours. Here is another big lesson. I was on target, halfway mark, I was on target to go sub 2 hours. I was still below 1 hour on the halfway mark, wasn't happy. You know, everything go according to plan. Then I heard noises from behind, chatting noises, followed by flapping sound. The sound of bare feet slapping the tarmac. I turned around. Sorry, because of racial issue, I cannot mention races. I saw this 3 little skinny girl, probably 11 or 12 years old, still wearing the school uniform of dark blue and white shirt probably from the plantation nearby. They were chatting, and me and my stupid ego having 3 half marathon under my belt, I was cocky. Show up with the latest Nike running shoe and attire. And I was on time to go sub 2 hours. Instead of keeping my mouth shut, I tried to get some cheap thrill and follow the girl. I can speak a few words of their dialect, so I started to teach them. What translate into English is, little girl, why no shoe? Of course, not in English, in their typical dialect. The little girl turned around, looked at me in contempt, you know. So she took off and the other 2 follow. Of course, my ego was too big for me to swallow. I follow. That was mistake number 1. You should always run at a pace which you are used to, comfortable. I follow. Again, my ego get the better part of me. So I follow and I continue to teach. I even sang a song. Again, a very popular song at those there, I owe something, you know. So I change it into it. Instead of calling somebody, I owe some, I change it into little girl. And this time, ladies stirred him up. They took off. Of course, I follow. I couldn't afford not to follow. But follow was like killing me. So by then, the girl breathing, I can get they were breathing hard. But I was huffing and puffing. I could not take it anymore. So to save face, I sat down on the curb, pretend to tie my shoelace, and the girl saw through me. They came back, talk in their dialect, translate into English. Oh man, you better go and suck your mother milk. So I mean, see, it's what an insult to me, So I said, well, I couldn't do anymore. So I put up a faint smile. I said, go, 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 little girl. Now, of course, I finished the race. Not sub 2 hours, it's over 2.5 hours. Of course, I felt insulted, but what I learned is the biggest lesson in my life. No ego. Whatever you do, you stick to your game plan. You plan your race, you race your plan. You do not allow what's the surrounding in from you. Even an old fat woman overtake me, also let her go and all this. And from then on, that was still in my rookie year. I show up in all races as a nobody and also run away hidden behind. That had got a big, despite the name I have already, that is the biggest advantage. You do not, you avoid pressurize yourself unnecessary. See, the day is still long. In an Ironman, it is the longest day of every man taking part. What count is who put that one foot across the finish line. And that lesson served me very, very well. If you would have read the forward in my book written by Jeff Mayer, Managing Director of Ironman Asia Pacific, he put it very right. When I show up, I lighten up the field. I got no pressure, So the same thing, whatever you do, if you can avoid the unnecessary baggage, by all means, do so. But behave like the Russian, come from nowhere, and you search in front to become a champion. By the way, sorry, okay, now I will go back to a few months later, while I was on the trip to Port Dickson, I saw a big medal hang across the road in front of the PDA Yacht Club. Port Dickson International Triathlon. I could not even pronounce the word triathlon. But out of curiosity, I went into the club to check it out. By the time I came out, I've signed my name at the dotted line to take part in my first ever triathlon at 52. That was an Olympic distance. By the way, this is organized by the father of triathlon PD, the one who came into the Ironman at 2 a.m. in the morning. He organized. So I thought, well, I could swim, I could also run, cycle. Yeah, I could cycle because my old man operated a Sunday shop. In my teen, when I came back from school, I have to deliver what provision ordered by customer in an old buy. So I sign up again. Here again, it is, you never try, you never know. That is one step beyond a very small step. It's only Olympic distance. But PD distance is 1.5 kilometer swim in the sea in front of the yacht club. The bike is 42 kilometer, 2 kilometer extra because of the logistic reason, and the run is 10K. So I have to get back to the tricky saddle. I haven't cycled for 23 years by then, you know. So I borrow an old rusty ready bicycle, road bike for my nephew. Of course, he's much taller than me, so the bike is already it doesn't fit me. But you know, in those days, I didn't know. So training on the bike, okay, swim in the club, run around the Subang Lake, bike around my neighborhood area, which is SS3. We had neighborhood kid. Again, I cannot mention race. You know, in the teen, they used to cycle on the BMX bicycle. And when they saw me, this ape on a racing bike is one size larger than him. Very funny. So they bully me. They will overtake me in front of me, then apply emergency brake, and I fell a couple of times because the bike was too big for me. When I brake, I cannot put my feet on the ground. But the ox in me will never say die. So okay, for safety, I went and bought myself a bike helmet, uh, elbow pad, and knee pad plus glove. And the bike helmet sold to me also one size over, very big bike helmet, because as a greenhorn, I didn't know there's such thing as different helmet for different head size. The helmet is molded out from styrofoam plastic and covered with red and white fabric. The damn thing when they put on my head is like a Chinese cooking wok, you know, and with the red and white so, and also with my elbow pad, knee pad, and oversized jogging shoe and glove. And of my small size mounted on the bike, I look like a ninja turtle, a very popular cartoon in those years. Now, those boys got more reason to bully me. They will now follow me from behind. Oi, ape, ninja turtle. I was so embarrassed, but there's nothing I can do. Ha! But here is what I do to deal with myself. Okay? I can't take your nonsense. Anyway, it give me a lot of problem. So every weekend, Saturday after work, I drove all the way to PD with a bike. That is purposeful, my friend. You know, when I arrive, I swim in the sea. See, swimming in the sea and swimming pool is different because the sea is real battleground. So I swim the sea. Unknowingly, I was actually practicing on the same course. And then next morning, Sunday, I will cycle the same road used by the protection, the triathlon, the trunk road. So unknowingly, I was also practicing my bike in the actual battlefield. So actually, those boys did me a favor. They forced me to deal with myself, to spend the time and money, go all the way every weekend. But it turned out it paid a good dividend for me. So come race day, I show up at the bike transition with the same outfit. Elbow pad, knee pad, glove, oversized shoe, jogging shoe. In those days, we don't know how they use cycling shoe. Plus a damn helmet, like a walk. And at my back, I also carry a small wooden stool, four-legged wooden stool, where you can sit down on the while washing, clothes, and a big plastic pail and a towel, because I mean, it's the only practical thing I could think of. After you swim, you run to the transition area, your feet will be full of sand. So how you put in your running shoe? So you must have the plastic pail with water to clean the feet. So how you clean? You must have a small tool to sit on. There were a few Singaporeans who happened to occupy the same bike rack as I am. When they saw me come in, they was more than amazed. Where did this fella come from? You know, very funny looking. And then I heard someone pass a remark. One of them said, must be a crown employed by the organizer to provide some fun. I was so bloody embarrassed. You know, Singaporean always look down on Malaysia. Kiasuma. So I quickly set up my gear and went to the show. Wait for the swim start. But good for me, I was not the only one with such an outfit. Mr. Foster, Esso Refinery CEO, the main sponsor for the race, he also got a big plastic tub and the tool to sit down to wash his feet. Anyway, so I was there, had no, I had no expectation at all. I was just there to see if I can finish the race. So no pressure. My swim was quite okay because practicing in the battlefield. Quite fast. Came in, you know, after washing my feet and all this. Because in those days, there were no tight cycling shorts. I see use running, baggy running short. Like the cord, that running short was an old one, the cord broke. So I got to sit down and retreat the cord again, losing a lot of time. When it was done, again, I got no pressure, so I did not fumble. See, but others were fumbling. Wow, timer, the clock keep ticking. No. So on the bike, the moment I mount, I fell because again, no experience. My back wheel was jammed against the two brake pad. So I got to get down. Luckily, there was a mechanic to fix up for me. So I lost a lot of time. But again, I have no pressure. I'm not there to compete with anyone. So it doesn't affect me. So I just took it. Oh, cycling, wow, familiar territory. I cycle here every week. Know the terrain. Okay. I finished. Very happy. I I did not wait for the ceremony, the result. Actually, I came in second in my group of 50 plus, about 7 of us. I didn't know because I have a cash waiting for me in the what they call the Merlin Hotel. Uh, in those days, my wife is not here. In those days, I was quite naughty, quite wild, you know. So I was in a hurry, but I had to make a call to the toilet. As I walked in, the toilet was inside the clubhouse. I saw on the floor there were about 4 or 5 stretchers, those who born on rib. I passed by, I think I recognized 2 of them, must be the Singaporean who insulted me. So when the toilet come out, I walk there again. Yeah, 2 of them, you know. So instead of going back to the hotel, I make one more excuse to go to the toilet again. This time, I stood by in front of them. How are you? You're okay? I did not thumb my nose. Again, then I was just, again, they were so embarrassed because they were the one who insulted me. But now I was there with my medal. Hakim, how are you? That was my last laugh, the biggest last laugh I had. See, here again, no pressure, be nobody. When you cross the line, then only anyway, the trophy came to me by post 2 weeks later, his badly crashed second, because of backpacking. So in these races, you will find I was able to laugh at my misery and my goof. Later on in the story, I talk about the adventure races, So this is how I got started. And then in 1995, as I mentioned earlier, that was my first plunge in the Ironman Hawaii. You remember the 3 legs represent Malaysia? And now I want to go back to talk about the big shot, the hot shot, who had done it twice before. The hot shot, when Ironman Langkawi started, I think he took part 5 times with me. And you know what? I beat him in every race. And he is 23 years my junior. And he's a hot shot. And in 2 of the races, I beat him almost by 1.5 hours. I surpassed him. I never tied my nose. I said, are you okay? And this is the way I do things. He was very embarrassed. And so that is another laugh. Time up.
Alright, this is the end of the sharing from Uncle Yi. If you like video like this, do check out some of the videos that we have recommended over here. And we will see you on the next month. See you and bye bye.